Hi, my name is Matthew White. Welcome to the Butterfly Dojo. This is where we help entrepreneurs, aspiring high achievers, and professionals become hyper-focused and get clarity so that they can build fulfillment in their lives, so that they can go out and become extraordinary. This is a super powerful formula that we have, and we're helping countless people achieve great things in their lives through this process. Now, I get a lot of people asking me, how do I become hyper-focused? How can I be more engaged in my life and be more fulfilled? And over the last many years of helping countless people in this industry, we've formulated this matrix. And this matrix is super important. This is one of our matrices that alludes or gives context to the pathway to hyperfocus. Now, it's very important to understand this. If you look at this matrix, you'll see there's various levels, right? And I'm going to go through this as we go through this training in a minute, and I will explain this and give you a really deep understanding of how you can become more hyper-focused in your life and get the clarity you want to perform better and become extraordinary in your world, right? First, we have to understand this, though. One of the most valuable things in this world right now is your attention. Everyone is bidding for your attention. Your boss is bidding for your attention. Your clients are bidding for your attention. Your family is bidding for your attention. Your friends are bidding for your attention. Social media, companies, marketing. There's so much bombardment right now coming at you, and we are at war against algorithms, at war against time. Everyone is trying to get your attention, and there is distraction everywhere, from every direction. Right? We're being thrown with so much pressure, so much in this day and age, and our brains are not equipped or designed right now to be able to deal with this, right? The overwhelm is becoming extraordinary. There's more overwhelm causing so much depression and deflation in this world right now than has ever been ever in history. It's crazy. Right now, this distraction is an epidemic at proportions we have never experienced in all of human existence. And it's crazy. And in order to be able to deal with this, we need to understand that our brains have become totally frustrated and rewired and reprogrammed from where they should be. There's so much messiness going on inside of our brains, it's absolutely crazy. Our brains do not know how to handle all of this overwhelm. It does not know how to deal with all this information overload. It really has, and we are not helping to facilitate this to create an outcome where our brains can be clear and focused on what we're doing. So we end up going in circles. We end up chasing things that, lead us down paths of destruction. We chase things that we think are going to be good for us, and turns out they're not. And we go around in these circles, chasing shiny objects, or assuming that we're going to have this success doing this thing, and then only our brains start telling us this negative thought that we're not going to achieve it, we're not good enough, we're not able to do this. Our brains are just totally discombobulated, right? And we need to reprogram our brains. There's no other way to get better at this than to first start with the basics. Understanding what's going on with our neurochemistry, what's happening with our neurobiology, and be able to start working with it so that we can put everything in a line, straighten things out, so that we can start working towards a pathway of clarity and focus in our lives. There is no quick fix for this, right? Let me be clear about this. To get yourself into a high performance state, to be hyper focused and to be clear in your life, means you've got to put the effort in. There's no magic pill. There is no magic pill, right? But there is process. There is steps that you can take to start from the foundations, to build yourself up, to give you the tools that you need to be able to put your brain back into perspective so that you can become more hyper-focused in your life and you can accomplish better, greater, bigger things, right? So let's go through this matrix. This matrix is really important, right? And I want you to understand that if you see this red line, the red line is where the magic happens. This is where we need to aspire towards, to be getting real clear focus in our lives and our brain functioning at its peak performance, so that we can do the things that we want to do, so we're not being distracted, we're not feeling overwhelmed, we're not feeling deflated. If we can work in our biology or build our biology up to be working towards these, past that red line, that's when we're going to start feeling better, we're going to be performing better, we're going to be doing much better things, and we're going to be really focused on managing our time a lot better, right? So what's happening in our biology, right? If we look at right on the left column here, you'll see that there's certain aspects of our biology that are affected. They are causing us pain, causing us frustration, because we have let our bodies down. We have let our biology down. And these are the things that are going on. First of all, our brain waves. We start with our brain waves. Our brain waves are, for the most part, running at a pace that is not congruent with high performance. Our brain frequencies are usually typically erratic and running a lot higher speed than what they need to for us to be engaged, right? A lot of people believe that we only use a small portion of our brain, and in order to perform better, we need to use more of our brain. Well, it turns out that that's actually a very false theory. And what is happening is we're using way too much of our brain, and we really need to slow things down so that we can perform better. Our overactive brains are causing us a lot of frustration and pain. And it's because of all this overwhelm and distraction and things that are coming at us that are causing us, our brains just to be wired incorrectly. Brain function, it's the same part of this, right? A lot of people, so we'll talk about brainwaves first. First of all, we're typically operating at this delta beta brainwaves, brainwave frequency, which is typically at a higher pace. It's rapidly engaging. We're kind of focused. We're living our day in this hyperactive kind of frequency. But what we really need to do is slow it down to this alpha theta, right? And if we learn how to do this, if we understand how to do this to bring our brains to that lower frequency, we can perform at a much higher rate. It's this idea of slowing down to speed up, right? And the brain function is all a part of this, right? This whole process is about slowing your body down so that it can perform better, right? Because it's really erratic and at a hyper pace at the moment, right? Brain function. A lot of us think from the, if you're thinking from this mammalian portion of your brain where you're, working in a fear mode or working in a reactive mode, right? Or you're working in your frontal cortex, right? Where all this negative thinking and your brain is telling you you're not good enough. You're not going to do this. You're not going to accomplish things, right? You're overthinking things. So this fear and overthinking is a really part of our brains that are causing a lot of frustration. And we need to bring this down as well, right? Bring it into a state of transient hyperfrontality. This is a state of where your brain is changing, you're slowing down the prefrontal cortex, and you're working from a part of your brain where your brain can perform at a much better pace, and you're not dealing with inner conflicts. You're not dealing with these negative thought processes happening inside your head. Ultimately working towards having an integrative process in your brain, where your brain is firing at a much better, smoother, like a race engine rather than a horse cart, right? So we want to be working towards that. Heart rate. A heart rate is the part of our system that controls a whole dynamic part of our biology. And for the most part, if we're lazy, if we haven't been working our bodies, if our hearts are incoherent, we are in a very devastating situation. Our hearts are telling us that we're on a pathway to decomposition or dying, right? So we need to really facilitate working towards getting our heart rates to being coherent. Coherence means it's working in symbiosis with your whole system, right? Incoherent means it's out of symbiosis and it's working against your body, right? Fit and healthy people are more coherent, right? If you're incoherent, you're not looking good inside, right? And ultimately, we're working towards getting a controlled heart rate. We want to be able to control our heart rates. When you can control it and it's beating at a much more sustainable rate, your stress is less, you're living longer, you're feeling better, you're going to be in a much better position. You can be more focused, right? The next thing is neurochemicals. Our neurochemicals play this massive role in our body, in our biology, right? The neurochemicals in our body, when they're working in congruency, when they're working together, you can utilize your neurochemicals to really power up your biology, your system, so that you can be so much more clearer, so you can feel so much better in your life, so you can actually perform at a level that you want without feeling all these negative thoughts, without feeling worn out and drained and deflated. Neurochemicals are probably one of the most important critical components of this. If you can get your chemicals, your neurochemicals working in a proactive way for you, you're going to be on a pathway to feeling so much better about your life. You know, getting these chemicals working together is a real art and a science, but it's norepinephrine, it's dopamine, it's serotonin, it's anandamide, it's endorphins. All these chemicals, when they're working together, are giving you this edge, this ability to perform and feel at your best, right? Now we want to be able to push our neurochemicals through a process of where we're stressed, right? If your neurochemicals aren't working towards you, you're in this adrenaline state, you're feeling stressed, you're always in a reactive mode, or to that next level where you're reactive and you're reacting towards people. Somebody says something and you're kind of jumping at them, right? To being more proactive. When your neurochemicals lift to a level of being proactive, you're feeling good, you're more positive, you're doing better things in your life. But when you take it to transformative level, that's when the magic happens, and you can really feel your whole world is changing, and you can feel better about everything that you're doing, right? Your neurochemicals play the biggest role in the whole dynamic of your system, right? So body function is another part of this, right? Your body and your whole system is working together to give you the best, to give you the outcome that you're looking for. Your brain is not going to function properly if your body is not functioning properly. If your body is not in a good condition, then you're not going to be able to get hyperfocus. It's a part of the equation that needs to happen for you to be performing better in your life. It's just a simple equation, right? You're one system. You're not a piece of the system. You don't just work on one part of it and expect that the whole system's going to work together, right? And a lot of people are in a state of atrophy, right? Laziness, sitting in front of TVs, computers, in front of desks all day long, not getting out and exercising, not putting their bodies in a position where they're healthier, right? Between being atrophy and taut, you know, some people might get out a little bit, but they're not getting out enough. So they're not really flexible. They're not really strong. We want to take our bodies into this position where it is, I call it SFF, right? Strong, fit, and flexible. If you can be in this position, that's when your body starts, that's when the magic happens, right? These are very powerful components. Your body's functioning is really going to be more helpful to building those neurochemicals and being able to control those dynamics of your brain waves and the brain function and bringing everything together, right? Totally, at the end of this, we want to be working towards being more polyaxial. We want to be able to be more fluid in our movements, being able to be more flexible and being able to do more in life, being more active, being more engaged, being more out there, right? It's very, very important. To do this, it's going to really heighten your level of focus in everything that you do. Breathing. Breathing is a big problem. So many people, we're all hunched over our desks these days, you know, feeling, working so hard, trying to get things going. We're looking down at our phones. We're not really opening up our airways, and it's causing problems. It's causing serious medical and inflammation problems in our body that are becoming permanently damaging, right? And we need to start thinking about how we're breathing. Most people are at a stagnant dynamic. They're hunched over, they're not thinking about their breathing, they barely ever breathe deeply, and so it's a real problem. A lot of people might have a good posture, but then they feel they're breathing okay, and they might breathe from a thoracic position, right? But ultimately, we want to be thinking about deeper breathing. We want to be taking in the oxygen, as much oxygen as we can, and also we want to be working towards doing dynamic breathing, where we're using breathing techniques to really open up our pathways and give us more focus and clarity in our lives. These are important things to be doing and thinking about. Mindset. You see, you're never going to become more clear or focused in your life if you haven't got this mindset components sorted out. And mind, and a messy mind, this distraction, this overwhelm is going to be continuously cycling through your life because you're not able to control it and fix it and get your brain into a position or your mindset in a position where you're in a growth mindset. Most of us are on a path of messy mindsets. We don't know what we're doing from one day to the next. We don't have a clear pathway. We don't understand what we need to do. We make wrong decisions. We haven't clearly defined our pathway, and we're not thinking proactively or positively in our life. Quite often, this messiness in our head is just keeping us in a messy place. And between messy and fixed mindset means you're not open to change. You're not wanting to or willing to make better improvements in your life. You might be in a good position and you're okay with that, and that's not going to change. So you're never going to get a focused or a hyper productive mind without having a growth mindset. Growth mindset means you're open to growth, you want to make changes in your life, and you're accepting to learning from your experiences, right? Ultimately, where you want to become more autonomous about it. So growth mindset then becomes a part of your life. So you're not thinking about being in this growth mindset, you're just living your growth mindset. You're autonomously doing this, right? And finally, very, very important part of hyperfocus, or being clear in your life and to have fulfillment, is understanding time. So many of us just go through life either in the past or in the future, or have no idea about time. We're not focused on time. We don't even think about time. And so our time is just getting wasted. We're cycling out of days and nights, doing things, wasting time, not appreciating the value of time. And we need to start to become really focused and to really understand the dynamic of hyperfocus and hyperperformance. We need to understand the power and importance of time, because time is something you will never get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And so many people are wasting so much of their valuable time on things that are sucking them dry. And there's people that just have this vague idea of time, that time doesn't even matter to them, and so it's just a total waste, right? They're just going through day, flowing through a cycle of like being on this hamster wheel, right? And then there's people that live in the present or the past, or they're focused on the present or the past, and this is part of their mindset. And these ruminations and these, things that have happened to them, or they want to happen to them, or might happen to them, these fears, right? Living in the past or present is a very dangerous place to be in your mind, right? Ultimately, you want to be working towards having a pro-present mindset, or ultimately living in the deep now, understanding the importance of the deep now and what that means in your life to really crush it and be really super focused and to really take your life into extraordinary. So this is a very important matrix that we need to understand, and this is the pathway, or the start of the pathway to becoming extraordinary, right? Now, there's a lot of research that goes into this topic, a lot of research on peak performance and how we can, improve our lives in multiple industries across the world, big companies, pharmaceuticals, the military, the list just goes on. And it's really important to understand that there's two sides of this coin, right? There's a side of the coin where industry is bidding for your attention, right? And there's a side of the coin where you need to defend yourself and be in a position to protect yourself, so you understand the value of your attention and you can put it into perspective and say, I'm in control of this. I want to be the best I can be, because there's a war against your attention right now, and how you defend yourself is going to depend on how the war turns out, right, in your life. I want to talk about this guy, right? And extreme sports is one of the fields in our world where their skill set of hyper-focus is really being honed, right? There are amazing people in this world that are doing amazing things and are learning and understanding the importance and the power of being hyper-focused and being engaged in the moment, right? Luke Atkins jumps 25,000 feet, right? No parachute, right? Into a net on the ground. Imagine the super amount of focus you need and the ability to get in that zone so that you can get this done. Imagine you're flying, you're in the airplane, you're thinking, you're going through the process, right? You're thinking about what needs to happen. You've got to jump into that little, it's like a pinprick, right? It's like, imagine having a table tennis ball, right? A ping pong ball, and you're throwing it down the road, 100 meters down the road into a beer glass, right? And there's a wind blowing. Like it's the skill, the focus that's needed for that is incredible, right? Now he's done this. He jumps out of the plane. He's heading down towards this net, and at a second before he hits the net, he has to flip around and land on his back and hit the net, right? The incredible focus that's needed to pull off this type of attempt is phenomenal. Now, this is something that anybody can tap into. This kind of skill set or this type of focus is available to anybody. All you need to do is be able to understand what your body is capable, what your biology is capable, and you can tap into an amazing resource of potential inside of you. Because there's a moment, and many of us have probably been through this or experienced this moment in our life where our bodies have just worked, our minds have just worked, and we've done extraordinary things, or we've felt super amazing about this moment that we've just experienced. Maybe it's scoring a goal. Maybe it's doing an amazing presentation. Maybe it's, doing something extraordinary, like in extreme sports, right? And we've had these moments where it's just been perfect, right? Everything's just worked and we've got it right. Now we can tap into that. There's a moment that we can all draw from, and we can do it repetitively. We can hack this process, right? This extraordinary feeling. It's something that's also called flow, but we like to call it hyperfocus. We want to be able to give people this ability to be hyperfocused, have clarity in their lives, and ultimately find fulfillment. Because when you're in that moment, when you're doing this amazing thing, how fulfilled do you feel? How amazing do you feel? And you want to be being able to draw on that and being able to do that time and time and time again. That is the magic moment, right? Christopher Berglund, one of the most incredible ultra runner marathon runners in the world, said this state is an incredible state. It's a state of performing with zero friction, zero viscosity, and superconductivity. It's a state of absolute harmony and endless energy. When you can tap into this focus, when you can tap into this clarity, it really takes you to a whole new level of existence. It's quite an extraordinary thing. And science is showing time and time again the powerful, the incredible results that can be achieved when you can get into the state of hyperfocus, right? Or state of peak flow, as scientists like to call it. And this peak performance mode is showing incredible increases in capacity and capability, like learning capability, right? Of being able to absorb information faster, learning faster, skill acquisition, your memory increasing. When you can be drawing from the state and you've got your biology working for you in this productive mode, your productivity can hyper increase, right? 500%, right? Hyper focused, you're engaged in the moment, you're engaged in what you're doing, and you're not getting distracted or pulled in any direction, and you're not feeling overwhelmed, right? You're motivated, you're energized, you're feeling so much more resilient, right? Creativity goes through the roof, right? This idea of, what is really needed in this industry is people that are more creative in this whole world, right? Problem solving, being creative, innovative ideas and resourcefulness all come out of this component, right? And we can really push our boundaries and push our limits if we really understand this, know how to draw from our biology, and really take ourselves to that next level. Now, McKinsey & Company did a study, 10-year study on executives who are in this flow state or in this hyper-focus state, right? And over 10 years, they found that executives who were able to draw on flow will be able to access this state, right, were 500% more creative and productive, right? If you're not taking notice of this right now, you're going to be left behind. In business, in industry, in sports, everywhere, people that are starting to take this on are getting extraordinary results. If you don't take notice of it, like I said, it's just going to leave you left in the dust, right? Now, we help all kinds of people in our industry, right? In our sectors, right? These are typically what we're working with. We're working with artists and creatives, right? Who are looking to find intense inspiration. We help them build their confidence, get more clear about what they're doing, and really tap into a deeper pathway to finding this inspiration, creativity that's hidden inside of them. We help soldiers even, right? Find this inner peace. This is one of the most intense industries in the world, right? And people are being affected in various ways, saving people, helping people, seeing violence. All these things are very impactful. And by understanding your biology more effectively can create a much better pathway to dealing with it and to be more focused on your job and getting the job done more effectively, right? We help professionals, entrepreneurs, find an edge, right? Being hyper more competitive, being right on their game, being able to achieve much more in their lives than they would have otherwise, right? Super, super powerful. We're for helping athletes find perfection in their game, right? Getting very super high performance in what they're doing, whether they're athletes, high extreme sports, or whatever it is that they're doing. We're helping them achieve much better and higher things through this process of hyperfocus. Very, very powerful stuff. And if you're not aware of this, if you don't understand this, your biology is either working for you or it's working against you. It's that simple. And to get into a state of being real clear and being able to perform at your best, you need to be past this red line. There's no other way about it. To feel your best, to perform at your best, means you have to take your biology over to that next line, right? And we have multiple matrices. This is a matrix for hyperfocus, right? Important to understand this. You have to be able to slow your body down to speed up, and it takes practice and work to make this happen. It's a skill set that those that are mastering are really taking their lives to a whole new level and becoming truly extraordinary, right? And this is the method that we use to help people, right? Because you can't just expect to just do everything. There's too much to be thinking about. We've taken this, listened to hundreds of people over the last few years, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people in industry, and we've put this into a process to make it very easy, clear, a step-by-step process that anyone could follow and use, right? And we call it the butterfly method. Taking people from average or zero to extraordinary, right? There's 3 levels to this, 3 easy levels, right? There's a base level, the core level, and there's an amplification level, right? These all stack on top of each other for very, very specific purpose to help you grow and evolve into this so that you can really take your life to that next level. Now, this is our training that we do in this, and it's very systematized, it's very systematic, it's very simple to do, and we help people through this process so that they can get the results that they're looking for, so they can become more hyper-focused, so they can find clarity and ultimately find fulfillment in their life in anything that they're doing, right? So this base stage really is important, and that matrix fits into this, right? All our matrices fit into this. We have 2 matrices, and the one that I'm showing you now fits into this. So doing this will help you get your mind, your biology, and everything functioning at its best, right? So we'll start at the base. The base level is really about the core of your mind, right? Strengthening your mind and getting your mind in the right place so that you're impacted, you're feeling more engaged, and you're energized and motivated about everything that you're doing in life. Starting to build on the foundations, right? Momentum, helping you build motivation in your life, getting you drive up, getting you feeling like you want to jump out of bed in the morning and feeling excited about what you're doing. Mindfuck is about getting that, you're taking control of your mind, all that messiness that's happening, right? To put it into perspective, get a clear pathway happening, and being in more control of the choices and decisions that you make, and being more aware of how you can be in control of your life, right? Power THX is a system of creating and strengthening your mind, right? You want to be in control of your mind, but there's no point having control if it's not strong. Right? We help you strengthen your mind so your mind is able to deal with anything that's coming at you, right? It's really, really powerful. The next thing is fuel. Fuel ATP is a really important part because we need fuel to fuel our brain. Our body needs a certain amount of energy, the right type of energy. We need to bring down or cut down inflammation, and we need to feed our brain specific nutrients so that it can be engaged and focused and be able to deal with your life from a day-to-day basis, right? The next thing is kinetics. Now, your body is your third brain, and it needs to be performing. And now I'm not talking about having a total 6-pack abs and all that kind of stuff. Even, you don't have to go down that pathway, but you do need to have a body that's strong, fit, and flexible, right? And it needs to be able to be adaptable, and it needs to be performing and functioning at its best so that your brain is working, right? Because your brain won't work if your body is not working correctly. The next is regenerator or regentor, and this is regeneration, right? It's about you restoring your body, right? There's no point putting yourself in a position where you're pushing, you never recover. You're only going to burn out. Time and time again, we deal with people that are burnt out right to the core, and they don't know how to get out of it, right? This is how you prevent yourself from getting burnt out, and you can survive on and on and on. You can keep getting into your state of flow, and you don't feel this burnout, right? This is the core component, these three. The next level up is amplify. So now we're stacking on top of each other, right? These are all building blocks. And on the top level, this is where we take it to the next level, right? This is the amplification part. This is where we will find fulfillment, right? This is where we're putting it all together, right? Design NDI. This is a powerful component. If you understand that your world, your whole world around you is designed the wrong way, it isn't incongruent with you being in a hyper-focused mode, right? And in order to be able to live with fulfillment, be able to live a good life, a focused life, a more engaged life, you need to create an environment around you that supports that, and it's an ongoing experience, right? You don't just turn around one morning and say, oh, I'm giving up, or you let your mind take control of you, or you let your distractions around you dominate your life again, right? It's important to create an outcome that's going to be forever. The next level is new tech. I love this part of the process because this is where we bring technology into this, and we can find some really awesome technology that can help us in the area of pharmacology, in the area of technology. But it is important to note that this needs to be right at the top, at the end of the pathway, right? Because if you start delving into technology and pharmacology, but you haven't got all these other things working, you're only going to end up depressed and deflated, because these technology concepts or attributes, they only work temporarily, and they're very limited with what they can do. But if you stack it with all this other stuff that's going on that we show you how to build in your life, that's when the technology really can start working much better for you, and it will take you into a whole new level of existence, right? And finally, the last part is putting in a process together that suits you, that works for you. Going into the dojo and practicing and building up your resilience and building up your whole focused mindset, and giving your body the exercise it needs so that you can be performing at your best, right? This is very powerful part. We put it all together. We show you how you can formulate your own methodology for you to be able to perform at your best. Something that works for you, something that you won't get worn out from, something that you can keep coming to and saying, I want to keep doing this because I feel absolutely freaking good in my life, right? When you get to this point, it's an amazing feeling, right? Now you have choices, you can continue doing what you're doing. You're here for a reason. You wanted to learn about focus, clarity, right? This is a starting point. There's a lot to learn, and it's important to understand that when you get it right, it's amazing. But if you don't, that's fine. You can continue what you're doing. You can continue feeling worn out. You can continue letting your biology work against you, and you're not going to be performing at your best. It's a choice. You don't have to do anything, right? I know what I want to do. I know what I've done. This understanding, this hyper-focus, understanding flow has totally transformed my life. It's giving me an edge that I never would have experienced ever in my life before. It's totally transformed my life. It's not only helping me, but all our clients that are engaged with us, countless of them are finding absolute focus and clarity in their lives, and they're becoming extraordinary. You can too. I know what I would choose, right? Because flow has changed my life. This hyper-focus has given me the ability to be very hyper-focused in what I'm doing, given me near superhuman powers. I feel amazing. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. Like, this is the results. 6 years ago, I stumbled across this, and we started working together to create this outcome, me and my partner. And 6 years ago, I was not in a good state. I was, and I'm not going to tell you any sobby stories or stuff like that, but you can see the evidence. It was not a healthy person, right? And in a year, after discovering this idea of hyperfocus, being really engaged in my life, taking my life to that next level and feeling really good, I totally transformed. And I've been able to keep that 5 years down the track, right? the results are showing I'm able to consistently keep it up because I haven't just focused on diet. I haven't just focused on one part of my biology. I've looked at my whole biology, the whole system, and this system is changing lives, right? If you come and engage with us, you can make this transition. You can feel good about yourself too, right? Now, this is not a diet or anything like that or exercise program. This is a holistic look at being able to solidify your life and giving you the tools and resources you need, not just to lose weight, not just to have a better gut or whatever it is that people are teaching these days, is to have a holistic approach to your life that's going to give you the tools and resources you need for the rest of your life, every part of it. It's very powerful, and we systematize this so that it's simple, easy to follow, and anybody can do this, right? And like I said, this is a whole program. It's a life system, it's a body system, and it's a mind system, the three core components that will give you the ability to be the best you can possibly be, all working together symbiotically to give you the ability to get into a state of peak flow, right? This is the circle of extraordinary. You get this right, this is where good life starts, right? You want to be successful in life, you want to have the ability to charge ahead, you need to have this circle of extraordinary happening for you, right? Come and join us in the dojo, right? Click the button below. Come and book a session with me. Come and find out what this is all about. Apply to join, and let's see if we can work together. I'll see you on the other side. Thank you. Have a great day. Take care.